Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Code Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation from Gaudi Mahalla Panjwa follows. Gaudi Mahalla Panjwa, Shant Bhie Gur Gobidh Pai, Taap Paap Bin Se Mere Pai Rahao. राम नाम नित रसन बखान, बिन से रोग भय कल्याण। पार ब्रह्म गुण अगम विचार, साधु संगम है निस्तार। निर्मल गुण गावो नित नीत, गई ब्याद उब्बरे जनमीत। मन बच क्रम प्रभ अपना ध्याई, नानक दास तेरी सरणाई। मन बच क्रम प्रभ अपना ध्याई, नानक दास तेरी सरणाई. So the instruction on method, which we saw in the previous Shabad, where we were asked to listen with attentive ears, that theme continues here. The Guru begins by stating how he's feeling, the state of his mind. He goes, "My brethren, mere pai, I am content. Sant Bhie." Now, Sant has multiple and complementary connotations, as we know. It's used to indicate peace, calm, tranquility, etc. But to this translator, the quality that seemed most appropriate in the context of Sikh teachings was contentment, santok. Because that's really hukam rajai chalana, acceptance. So the Guru says, "Mere pai, my brethren, Sant Bhie, I am content. Gone are my afflictions and cravings. Taap paap bin se." How did that happen? Because through the teachings of the Gur Enlightener, I have realized the Master Self within. Gur Gobidh Pai. Pai, I have realized. Gobidh, through the Gur. So that is the state of mind that the Guru is beginning with, and that is the state of mind that we are all aspiring to, or should be aspiring to. So how does that work? Ram Naam Nit Rasan Bakhan. Every day, he says, recite with the tongue. And what should we recite? Ram Naam. And pray what is Ram Naam. Ram Naam, as we know, is knowledge, Gyan, of Ram, of the all-pervading self, the Creator. But this Ram Naam is contained in the container of the Shabad, or word of the Guru. And the Guru, or the Gur, is an embodiment of Bani, sound or speech. Bani means sound and speech. Bani Guru, Guru hai Bani, which Bani Amrit Sare. So with the tongue, recite Gurbani. That's the beginning. The narrative of Gur wisdom needs to be recited with the tongue and heard with attentive mindfulness. So he says, Ram Naam Nit Rasan Bakhan. That's where you begin. Bin se rog bhay kalyan. So how does one rid the prevarications of the mind, the afflictions of the mind? the incessant desires of the mind, the cravings, all of that is lumped together as rogue, disease. Ultimately, it's all a pointer to Haume. So how do we dissolve the Haume and Bhai Kalyan? Kalyan means auspicious. How do we create an auspicious, positive environment where the self can be experienced? That is through Ram Nam Nit Rasan Bakhan. So when we recite Gurbani with the tongue and listen to it with the ears of mindful attention, we indeed trigger a process that leads the mind into a state of intuitive understanding. This is where it ties with the previous Shabad, where it said Harka Simran Sunman Kani, with the ears. So recite with the tongue, hear with the ears. And the Shabad, as we have said, is the container for Ram Nam. It is a vehicle for higher perception. And it is evoked through this mechanism of speech and sound by using the tools of the senses, the tongue and the ears. And it is through this process that the senses will transcend themselves and the mind will increasingly become receptive to the revelatory truth of the Shabad. So in Sikh teachings, remember that Shabad and Guru are used interchangeably and are often used together, as in Shabad Guru. And in the Indian systems, there is a good deal of discussion on Shabad or Shabda as it's called there, especially in the Tantric and Yogic systems. But the Sikh approach of Shabad is somewhat different and unique in that it deals with Shabad both as Vak, Logos, and Shabad as Dhwani, primordial sound, as the creator. The Tantric and Yogic approaches eschew the logical and the known and are focused primarily on the esoteric. In Sikhi, the known, the empirical and the logical is seen as a ladder to the transcendental. Reason and mystical intuition are not antithetical in Sikhi. That's the difference. And that is why we begin with the known, with the empirical, with Gurbani as it is embodied in the Guru Granth Sahib. We start there. And you will begin to discern deeper meanings, hidden meanings, when you start this process. And that is the process that will enable you to access the inaccessible. Here, the transcendent creator, who is not accessible to the senses. Par Brahm Gun Agam Bichar. That is, Sadhu Sangam Hai Nistar. The way out, the way to do this, to access the inaccessible, is through association with the sadhu. Here, a synonym for the perfect enlightener, the teacher, the guru, the Shabad, from where we get intuitive insight. And he adds, Nirmal gun gavo nitneet gai byad ubre janamit. My fellow seekers, he says, janamit, free yourselves from afflictions by intoning and internalizing the pristine qualities of the self. Nirmal gun gavo. Gavo, singing. But singing is not simply the mere act of physical. It's not simply a physical act, but when you sing, it evokes responses within the mind. And so therefore you begin to internalize those feelings through the act of singing, constantly and repetitively and regularly. So Nirmal Gun Gavo Nitani, that is how you form your character. And that is how Gai Byad Ubre, that is how you will be freed from Byad, which is an affliction, a disease, a handicap, So that's how he's addressing us as Janameet, friends, brothers. And in the end, this process should lead to a point where man, bach, kram, prab apnate aayi. You become aware of the self at all times, in word, in speech, and action. So therefore, Nanak the servant, Nanak Das, Teri Saranai, seeks your sanctuary, seeks the refuge within your sanctuary, and the your here is the self. On that note, until the next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.